As the dust settles from another thrilling round of Supercross at Daytona, a series of unexpected events, penalties, and injuries have left their mark on the championship battle. From Carson Mumford's controversial penalty to Adam Cianciarulo's bizarre run-in with security and the heartbreaking injuries sidelining top riders, there's no shortage of drama following this iconic round. Let's dive into the latest developments and what they mean moving forward. Racing at Daytona always brings unique challenges, and for Quad Lock Honda's Carson Mumford, it was a frustrating night that ended with a 4-position penalty. Officials determined that Mumford had gained an off-track advantage at the start of the 250SX East main event, dropping him from a solid 7th-place finish to 11th in the official results. Mumford wasted no time explaining his side of the story, taking to social media to express his disappointment. According to him, the penalty stemmed from an unavoidable situation that unfolded in the race's early moments. "I got a good start and came into the second corner battling for third," Mumford wrote. "Unfortunately, Max Anstey had a crash right in front of me. My only options were to run him over and try to stay in the top 5, or just go off the track and lose a lot of positions. I obviously chose to do the safe thing and go off the track, as I would hope anyone else would do the same if I crashed." Mumford emphasized that he did everything possible to re-enter safely, even allowing several riders to pass before merging back in. He then charged through the pack, working his way up from 11th to 6th before the red flag reset the race. After the restart, he climbed into 5th place for several laps before ultimately settling into what he thought was 7th at the finish, only to be hit with the penalty that officially placed him in 11th. "It is what it is," he concluded. "I look forward to continuing on my path of progress. See everyone at the next race." While officials stood by their decision, the incident reignited discussions about the consistency of penalties in Supercross and whether allowances should be made for riders forced off track due to unavoidable circumstances. For Muck-Off FXR Club MX, Yamaha's Maximus Vohland, Daytona delivered a season-high moment, followed by an unfortunate setback. The young rider delivered an impressive ride in the 250SX East main event, finishing in 5th place, his best result since the Anaheim one-season opener. However, post-race scrutiny led to the AMA docking him 3 championship points due to a failed post-race sound check. The penalty, while not affecting his finishing position, could prove costly in the long run as Vohland continues his push up the rankings. Riders are required to meet strict sound regulations, and while mechanical factors can sometimes contribute to violations, the AMA has maintained a firm stance on enforcing these rules. Despite the setback, Vohland's strong performance showed that he's capable of battling with the front runners, giving him momentum heading into the next rounds. One of the strangest stories to emerge from Daytona didn't happen on the track, but rather on press day. Kawasaki's Adam Cianciarulo found himself in an unexpected altercation with Daytona security, leading to him being temporarily escorted off the premises by police and banned from the remainder of the event. With speculation running wild, Cianciarulo finally broke his silence, offering his perspective on what transpired. "I didn't want to take any attention away from the racing this weekend, so I thought I'd let the dust settle before speaking on my incident with Daytona security on Friday," he explained. Cianciarulo detailed that he was watching press day practice from the infield when he stopped in a section of the track that was not in use. It was then that he was approached by the head of Daytona security, who, according to Cianciarulo, was unnecessarily aggressive. "He was in my face, and even though I showed him I had the proper credentials to be out there, he grabbed me by my arm and pulled me toward him," Cianciarulo recalled. "I was calm and understanding until then, but I had some choice words for him afterward. Had he just yelled at me, I would have let it go and kept it moving, but that is not okay. The situation escalated when he was brought to the police and asked to provide his ID. Meanwhile, another Daytona official intervened, revoking his credentials and ordering him to be escorted out of the pits. Thankfully, some of my team had a conversation with security, and I was able to get my credentials back, but I was banned from the track for the remainder of the weekend, Cianciarulo confirmed. Despite the incident, the Kawasaki rider remained diplomatic, reaffirming his respect for Daytona as a venue. Daytona is an iconic venue and one of my favorite events on the calendar, and this does not change that. Mistakes happen, and I hope we can learn from this to avoid similar circumstances in the future. The incident has raised concerns about how security interacts with riders at major events, and it remains to be seen whether the AMA or Daytona officials will address the situation further. Triumph Racing's Jordan Smith has been ruled out of this weekend's highly anticipated 250SX East/West showdown in Indianapolis following his brutal crash at Arlington. Smith was leading the first 250SX West Region Triple Crown main event in Arlington when he suffered a devastating crash in the whoops. The impact left him with a punctured lung, four broken ribs, and a small laceration in his spleen. Despite his best efforts to recover, Smith announced that he won't be able to race in Indy, marking the first Supercross event he's missed in 4 years. I'm really bummed to not be lining up for Indy SX this weekend, Smith said. This is the first Supercross I've missed in 4 years, and that's a huge bummer. I've done everything I can in my power to be ready since my crash in Arlington, but unfortunately, we are going to have to focus on getting back, which will hopefully be by Seattle. Smith's absence adds another layer of unpredictability to the Indianapolis showdown, which is expected to be one of the most competitive races of the season. His goal now is to return in time for the Seattle round on March 29th. In a reminder of just how brutal this sport can be, veteran racer Mike Alessi suffered a significant injury at Daytona. The former factory KTM and Suzuki rider, known for his long career in motocross and supercross, was leading a race when he clipped a tough block and suffered a heavy crash. The result was a fractured femur, a devastating injury that will require a lengthy recovery process. For Alessi, who has spent years competing at the highest level of the sport, this injury is a tough blow. Fans and fellow riders have rallied behind him, wishing him a smooth recovery as he faces the road to rehabilitation.